Namaste. Welcome.
Hi, it's Marcus and Karen, and we're just kind of here chatting about things, and we thought we'll record it. And we're talking about having a plan versus
having not a plan, but just ad lib and go with the flow, which is how I like to go, and with the flow.
Yes, and I think you can tell who would like to have a plan, even if it's one that we never stick to, and who doesn't want to plan and who just wants to do things as they come up.
Yeah.
And so we've been discussing this, and we thought, yeah, we'll record and see, how you feel. Do you like a plan, or do you kind of like to go with the flow like Marcus?
I often chat to people about being in the now and going with the flow. And of course, in life, of course, there's a plan that we set up when we come into this life. We know what we want. We know the goals we have to achieve. And it seems possibly, we don't remember now, but it possibly seems as souls coming into this journey, this new adventure, that we think everything's just going to fall into place because we got a plan. And of course, it's not like that.
That's
it
not
doesn't
how
work
it
like
works,
that.
no.
And I did a video yesterday on YouTube about, we think we know when the moment's right for us, for something to happen, and we want that to happen now. You know, we feel this is the right time for this to happen, and we all do it because we're human. It's just natural. But the fact is, for most of us, that the plan will go into fruition when the timing is not so much what we wish it to be, but the timing is perfect for us. Not just nearly right, but perfect, so that everything falls into place in its right place. What do you think, Karen?
It's about the timing to be ripe. So we often say the time needs to be right, but it also needs to be ripe. It's like the fruit on the tree that needs to ripen. And sometimes we see those fruits appearing and we think, oh, that looks ready. It looks ready. It looks ready. I'm going to pick it now, but you pick it and the tree doesn't really want to let go. And even if you manage to prise it off the tree and you bite into the apple, it's still all sour. It's not ready. And so I sort of come from the point of view where I like to have the plan. I like to know about having the fruit in the tree and that there is something that's about to ripen. And I like to have some form of a schedule or an idea of when it's going to ripen so I can be ready.
Yes, that's all well and good. But as I've just said, we want this to be the case because it's easier for us as humans to have these things in a plan. But the universe doesn't always work like that, does it, Karen?
It doesn't.
As we know that when we want something and we're looking at something and we think this would be good if this could happen, if that can happen, if we try and it doesn't fall into place, you and I both aware enough now of what we're talking about here to know the time isn't right for it. Let's leave it and we'll come back to it. And if it happens, if it all falls into place, the timing is right. So we've learned that, haven't we, from experience?
Yes, we have. But that doesn't stop us from feeling impatient.
Not us, you.
That says Mr. Patience here, especially when he's driving. You should see him. He's a terrible.
Let's not go into that.
Yeah.
I'm a lunatic behind the wheel.
No, you're not a lunatic. But
I'm going to cut that out, so just forget that. I scratch. All right. So yeah, I mean, we know that doesn't always pan out like that, and we're aware because of experience has showed us that as much as we want it to be the time for us to do such and such, it doesn't happen. It doesn't just fall into place. So we know that the timing is just not right.
However, sometimes it just falls into place.
It does.
And so we're kind of just going to have to allow that to happen as well. and be in the space of allowing and be in the space of flow. But what I like for myself, I kind of naturally, I tend to like that feeling of security. So I like to have this plan and this framework, even if you don't stick to it. So I do a lot of tutoring is the word, or facilitating. And so I always have what I would call a lesson plan. I always have a timeline, a layout, and something for everybody to do. And I prefer to work, not to walk, well, maybe both walk and work from that space, because it gives me something to fall back onto if I feel I've got a wobble with this, yeah, I just don't like the feeling of just winging it. Marcus here is maybe more experienced. I don't know. He likes to think he's more experienced.
I am more experienced at winging it because I'm a good talker.
Yes. Whereas for me, English is not my first language. So for me, I always like to have something. You can see I can sometimes stall when I'm speaking, and that's because I can't think of the right words. And so for me, it's nice to have a plan and a piece of paper where you just have some keywords, and then the whole thing flows again. And yeah, that's the space we're in. So
we'll see how these things pan out. Yeah. And the thing is, I can't disagree with having a plan. When I do certain things, I write it up first. When I do my meditations, I've learned the best thing to do is write them up first. And I do plan in that respect. But sometimes I think the secret to this in a way is if you don't have a plan and you just ad hoc into, you're going with the flow, you're going what comes through. But it's having that knowing, whether you have a plan or you don't have a plan, it's all about having that knowing that everything will happen at the right time, in the right way, for what we want to achieve, what we want to do. And I think we both have that, really.
I think everybody's got that. And I think it's just how we feel about this. That's the key point. It's like, if you're feeling secure and happy in yourself, then things just tend to fall into place. And so for me, I like to put measures into place that make me feel secure and happy. So I like that framework of a plan.
So there's obviously something needs to be looked at here as far as feeling secure. And that's probably where we're coming from.
Yes, but that's another
And
video.
Most people have these times when, for one reason or another, they feel a bit insecure about something. They don't feel they're good enough, or they don't feel they can achieve what they want to. And we all have that because we're all human, and that's natural. So if you are like that, or you feel like that at any time, having a plan definitely helps, and definitely helps in lots of ways. So there's not a, this is best and that is best. Again, like we often talk about, it's all down to the individual and the moment.
And how you feel about it.
At that moment.
It's how you feel about it, not how anybody else feels about it, but you.
Because if you're in that moment and you're feeling full of confidence about what you're talking about, you know exactly what you're talking about, you just flow. If you're in a moment where you're told to talk about something and you're thinking, oh, what do I say about that? How do I explain that? I'm not sure what to do about that. It's obviously not going to flow.
Yeah, but sometimes you can really know your stuff and really know everything. And there's a tiny little thing, a tiny little doubt, a tiny little thing that trips you up, and your mind just goes blank. I don't know if you've ever had one of those moments. I certainly have. And this is where I like my plan, because it brings me back on track, because it's just there as a safeguard. But just to let you know, there's no plan for this video.
Well, not really. And we haven't written anything down. We just thought we'd do it. And we're coming to an end of it now. So what's the lesson here? There is no lesson.
There's no lesson. It's just discussion.
It's just a discussion on what's best for you. And it's not about what we say is best for you, because we don't say that. We just give you examples to look at. And then you have to decide what's the best way for you to. And it's not about planning a lecture or planning the talk. It's about life. We're talking about life here, generally about life. So sometimes we need plans in life. Sometimes we have events coming up in life where we really do need to get it right, and we want to have a plan. And again, it's down to how we feel about the subject. If we feel really confident about it, we know we can just go in there and talk about it. And other times we know we're going to have to write this out first. Is that right?
I don't know. I didn't listen to any of it because you said we were coming to an end.
We are coming to an end. That is the end.
And then you talk about things for 5 more minutes.
That is the end, really.
That loses me straight away.
I know. Now, something's a bit too complicated for Karen, obviously, but that was quite simple. When we say we're coming to an end, it means it's the end. So don't say we're coming to an end. We're coming to an end now.
We're ending this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Love you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, lots of love.
Lots
Namaste.
of love. Namaste.